let's talk about the resume. I mean, we all know that it is still a document that people create. It's a document that historically has gained you an interview. At the executive level, Saundra, I'd like you to build on the older audience, and I'll say the older and senior executive audience. What are some ways that they could take their LinkedIn presence up a notch that are really not hard to do? They're just thoughtful things you can do. And
I thought we were going to be able to get rid of resumes like 6 years ago, but as it turns out, the system of applying to a job requires it. The whole system just has a meltdown if you don't have a resume. So the resumes need to be designed to communicate the value proposition to two audiences and two audiences only. Number one audience is the applicant tracking system. Okay, now they used to use more keywords. Now it's some form of AI. So, we can work with that a little differently. That takes a lot of research, very time intensive. The second audience is the actual screener, the person that sees hundreds of these every single day. And it's probably not your hiring manager. So odds are they don't even understand which skills and experience are really the best anyway. They've just been given some things they have to check. So what that resume has to do in the 6.25 seconds it's going to get seen before one of 5 actions are taken is to communicate the value proposition to the mind of a resume reviewer. So many people, they build their resumes as if they're talking to somebody that's just like them. That's the biggest mistake. So when we do a resume, we make sure it's applicant tracking system optimized and it's designed for the audience that's actually going to be in charge of getting you seen by a human being. Now, here's the biggest mistake. People think that their audience are a one size fits all. Your resume reviewer is like the sliver of the audience that you need to communicate your value proposition to get in the door. 85% of people that make over 200K are going to get their next job through your network. LinkedIn is the whole inbound side of that. LinkedIn is how you're going to get found. There's lots of things you can do with LinkedIn. You can use LinkedIn for outbound, but odds are it's out of this 85%, it's probably going to be a second or a third degree connection that gets you in the door. And that's just not you going out and pounding the pavement. That's actually them finding you. I mean, back in the day, when I first started headhunting, you had to call a headhunter to get any sort of traction to find an executive. Now, LinkedIn came around, put everybody's Rolodex in the cloud, and made it searchable. So people can type in and find whoever they want. Now, if a search goes out to a headhunter at the executive level, they've probably already reached out to 20 or 30 people on their own. Now, when you can find that many people on your own, 800 million people are on LinkedIn. When you can find that many people on your own with either your own LinkedIn membership, which a lot of companies have now, you don't have to go out and pay the fees like you used to. Yeah, that's why headhunters, if you've probably noticed, working on more middle management jobs, because that's the market that's really hard to recruit right now, middle management and below. So there's this pushback about being on LinkedIn and that it's some sort of, it's the social media platform. It's the world's directory to find professionals. When you want to find professionals, I'll tell you, the first place you go is LinkedIn. And if you're searching for free, you can only see your first and second degree connections, because LinkedIn, the more you pay them, the more you get to find. And that's why you pay. You pay if you're searching. So the biggest mistake I see people making on LinkedIn, especially that maybe are not technology or social media natives, but rather immigrants like myself, who didn't even get her first computer until 1997. I can tell you is they have this definition of who they should be connected to. And a lot of times I'll run into people who, LinkedIn's been around for, well, I've been on it for 18 years, and they have 200 connections. 500 connections. Well, the problem is that's going to limit how many searches you come up in. And then people say, well, don't want to be connected to just anybody. Well, that's not what LinkedIn is, not Facebook. And by the way, LinkedIn is not Twitter. LinkedIn is not Snapchat. It's not any of those. Okay. And maybe the stream on LinkedIn is looking more and more like Facebook every day. That's not the problem. You don't need to worry about that. You don't have to go on the stream if you don't want to. You just want to be found. So connecting to people is important. For instance, the reason I have so many connections is not because I just go connecting to anybody, but since I've been doing workshops and doing speaking engagements and doing anything where I was talking about my subject matter expertise, I have said to my audience, reach out to me, connect to me on LinkedIn, just send me a connection. Say I was in your talk today. I'll connect to you. That means that my connections are filled with people that understand my subject matter expertise. Do I know their names? No, I don't know everybody. I don't know everybody personally, but these are people who could probably talk to me or talk to somebody. Let's say they go to a dinner party tonight and they might say, hey, I just heard an interesting fact today about job search. And that person would say, oh, really? From who? That's how LinkedIn works. So you're a professional. You're on, you might get invited to panels. You're involved every day on a daily basis, somehow talking about your subject matter expertise. Let people connect to you that understand what your expertise is. And also remember, it's a two-way street. They might need help from you. You might need help from them, but that is the definition of networking. And don't think of LinkedIn as a social media platform. Think of it as a networking platform. It's the Rolodex, but it's in the cloud.